What is up, faithful? Welcome back to an episode of Clutch Gene Sports. Very eventful Sunday, right? Niners blow out the Bears. Victory Monday going great until Deebo Samuel decides to tweet something. Like, come on, Deebo, you don't gotta be that dude on the team. Everything's going great. It looked like you guys finally are turning the page and you guys have finally woken up. Hopes are alive. And then all of a sudden, Deebo decides to be cryptic in tweeting stuff. Not necessarily cryptic because he's pretty clear with what he says, but holy shit. Holy shit. That was very interesting. So for those who do not understand what I'm talking about, let me go and pull that up. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So let's go ahead and go to I started. Make sure I bookmarked it. So Deebo went out and decided to be, I guess you could call it, cryptic. And he tweeted, "Not struggling at all, just not getting the ball." Most Niner fans know that Deebo's been struggling. It's clear he's not running the ball the right way. He's not getting separation. What's interesting is he tweeted this 43 minutes ago, as you can see here. I tweeted this 21 hours ago. I tweeted out, let's go ahead and make this bigger. Even if the 49ers don't decide to move off of Deebo this year, there is a strong possibility he requests a trade. He seems frustrated with his usage. His numbers are down. He may ask to be moved. Now, a bunch of trolls are in there and everything, and they're talking about Deebo not, you're hearing this, his usage, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're talking about. I had to put that right there, right? I had to put what Deebo put. And it's very interesting, and shout out to Throwback. It says Happy Victory Monday. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Hope everyone's having a good day as well. And it's weird that Deebo put that out there because he's not having a good year. They gave him seven touches. He had like 31 yards. He had that big 20-yard catch. And then I forgot who tweeted out that over the last 4 games, he's been averaging like 21 yards or something like that. And he's been averaging 21 yards. And when I saw it, I joked with one of my friends. I was like, oh, so this means he's only going to get 1 yard the rest of the game. He ended up having like a couple of negative plays, and then he had like 25 or 30 yards at most. Deebo, interesting. I get you're probably not trying to call out your teammates, and you did say that you're not calling out your teammates. You're just stating the fact that you're not getting the ball. No, you're getting the ball. You're just not productive with the ball. Looking at how everything's going, the Niners beat up Rams team, right? And what I mean by beat up Rams team, when you don't have a head coach, you don't have a leader in the house, you're not that good of a team. Truthfully, they're not. They're led by a rookie quarterback who's very talented. That just hasn't put it together yet. Obviously, they made their interim offensive coordinator, who is their quarterback's coach. So what happened was they fired their offensive coordinator, made their quarterback coach their offensive coordinator. But then eventually they fired their head coach and made the interim offensive coordinator the interim head coach. So the leadership there, it's all out of whack. There's no one really there to lead the team. It's more so the organization's in a dysfunctional state. Players know it. Players are frustrated over there. They weren't well coached. They came into the 49ers stadium and they got their asses handed to. Plain and simple. Niners whooped on them, whooped on a bad team. That's how I see it now. I got to give credit to the Niners where it's due, right? Jawan Jennings, Brock Purdy, Isaac Guerrero, Spencer Burford steps in for Ben Bartsch, who started for Aaron Banks and stepped in and had a hell of a game. Got to give props to him. Defensive side of the ball, Demo, props to him. Also, I know there's a lot of negative energy going towards Mooney Ward. And I want to say prayers to him. I know he deactivated his Twitter account because of fans and people talking about his play, but also mentioning his family. Prayers to Mooney Ward and his family. I hope you guys are healing, could find peace with everything. And even though it's like, I know it's extremely hard to find peace when you lose a loved one. I cannot imagine having to lose a child at that age and how close they were. And so prayers to you. I hope you find um, happiness, and I hope you guys are able to recover from it. I'm sorry that the Niner fan base is tweeting at you that way or mentioning your situation and stuff like that. So prayers to you and your family. Got to give a shout out to him. Hufanga comes in and has a hell of an impact on the game. But with everything and all the players who stepped up and had a great game, the Niners are still behind the eight ball. They're still fighting to make the playoffs, right? They struggled early in the year to win games. Right as it sits right now, they're 6-7. And when you look at the 49ers, they need help from other teams. And at halftime, I tweeted out, and people thought I was just trying to be negative. But I tweeted out, it sucks that the Niners are dominating today while the teams they need to lose, which was the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams, were winning. I wanted the Niners to win and those two teams to lose. And so for me, a lot of interesting things like, are the Niners capable of winning, make the playoffs? You have fans who think they're Super Bowl contenders still. And what I'm just trying to figure out is, what are the scenarios that the 49ers need to make the playoffs? And I thought it was a great simulator, a great, interesting thing that I came across. Shout out to Pro Football Network. They have a simulator, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. So they have a pretty cool simulator, and I like the simulator for multiple reasons. It allows me to go through week to week, and it allows me to break down essentially a few different things. It allows me to go through each week. For example, has the Rams and the Niners and scenarios that could possibly happen. And on this side, it'll show us the NFC West, but it'll also show us the NFC seedings, right? In terms of what's needed to happen for the 49ers to make the playoffs. Great win, everything. But now you got to flip the page fast, right? You got to think Los Angeles Rams. You got to think this is a must-win game, as last week was as well. I think this is a more important game than the Lions game, essentially, because it's a division game. And if it does come down to a three-way tie in the division, you have to have as many division wins as you need, as you can get. So let's go straight to it, right? Let's take a look, before we even get into it, let's take a look at teams that can also impact the 49ers' way to the playoffs. The Niners are 6-7. So obviously everyone in their division could impact the 49ers at some way. I know they play the Rams, they play the Cardinals later in the year to end the season. But also another few teams that could impact the 49ers' probability of making the playoffs is the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Atlanta Falcons that no one's really talking about. Because even though the Niners could win the division still, there's still a chance of them winning the division. You still have that number 7th overall seed. So you have the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Commanders, as well as the Atlanta Falcons. I forgot about the Commanders. And the reason why I mentioned the Commanders is because essentially the Niners could win out. And if the Commanders go 2-2 the rest of the way, and the Niners win out and go 10-7, and they're 10-7, things get really interesting, and it comes down to tiebreakers and other factors on how the 49ers can make the playoffs. And I think the simulator is freaking amazing because we could get to that, right? Week 15. Now, it takes some predicting on who do you think's going to win. But for example, let's say the Niners win. And I'm going to go through this in terms of teams that may impact. I'm going to skip a lot of teams that impact the Niners' playoff hopes. Washington versus the Saints. Washington needs to lose. Let's say the Washington wins, right? Washington stays 7. Arizona should beat the Patriots. They're a better team. Scrolling down, let's say Tampa loses to a really good Chargers team who almost beat the Chiefs. Boom. Now Seattle's playing a really good Packers team at home. Let's say Green Bay steals that game. Now, Atlanta over here playing a really bad Raiders team. Let's say they win. So if this goes out down how I think it may in week 15, let's say the Niners beat the Rams on Thursday night to go 7-7. Washington beats the Saints. Arizona beats the Patriots. Chargers beat the Bucks. Green Bay beats Seattle. So essentially, the Niners don't move anywhere. But they are tied with what happens here is the Bucks would lose to Atlanta based off of head-to-head and other tiebreakers. So this is where it gets interesting the rest of the way. So Niners are still fourth, which puts Washington 2 games ahead. We go to week 16. Again, Atlanta playing a bad Giants team. Let's say Atlanta wins. Arizona playing a bad Carolina team. Let's say Arizona wins. Rams playing a bad Jets team. I think the Rams win. Let's say Washington loses to the Eagles for a second time this year. Minnesota beats Seattle. Seattle loses back-to-back. The Niners beat the Dolphins. Tampa Bay beats a bad Dallas team. So after week 16, the Niners are still in fourth in the NFC West, but they're tied now with the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Now, what we don't realize is Washington lost. So we're only a game behind Washington. So week 17 and 18 have to go the Niners' way. Let's say the Rams beat Arizona. Seattle beats a bad Bears team. This game becomes very, very interesting. Washington and Atlanta. Let's say Atlanta does beat Washington. Let's say the Niners beat Detroit. Tampa Bay decides to beat Carolina because Carolina's a really bad team. So we start to see things move. The Niners jumping into third in the NFC West. They're still tied with the Atlanta Falcons and Tampa Bay Bucks. Atlanta's the 3 seed. The Rams are the 4 seed. And Tampa Bay owns tiebreakers on the Niners due to, we take a look at it. Actually, both Washington, Tampa, and Seattle were ahead. But when we take a look at it, Tampa's a better conference record than the 49ers at this point. And they also have a better division record than the 49ers at this point. So we go to week 18. The Niners beat Arizona. Washington beats Dallas. Atlanta beats Carolina. This game becomes a huge game, no matter what. Winner of this one wins the division. Seattle wins, they win the division. If Los Angeles wins, they win a division. So taking a look at it, let's say I personally think Los Angeles is a better coach team and a better team. Let's say Los Angeles Rams win it. We go down to a game that's a must win. Tampa Bay beats out New Orleans. Niners would lose. They would not make the playoffs. And the reason is they obviously need Tampa Bay to lose a couple of games. So through that stretch, we had Tampa going as losing one game. I believe 3-1 Tampa goes. So we need Tampa to fall a couple of games. We need Tampa to go essentially 2-2. We had Tampa losing the first week, winning, and winning against the Saints, which is very possible because of the strength of schedule and who they're playing. So let's say Tampa does fall one of those other games. Right now they're 3-1. Let's say they lose randomly to a different team. The Niners would take that spot because obviously Tampa's 9-8. Atlanta would win their division. So that's a huge game. Needing Tampa to go 2-2. Say Tampa does win. And let's say Atlanta loses to Washington. They would be 11-6 and the Niners are screwed. So Niners need Washington to lose a couple of games. Atlanta going, let's say Atlanta does fall. Atlanta's been playing bad. Say Atlanta does fall to a Raiders team. Helps the 49ers as long as they go 10-7. So that 7th seed it's there. You just need help from other teams to win. Now, there's a possible way the Niners could become a 3-way tie, even if they lose to the Detroit Lions, going 9-8. And let's say, so that's week 15. Seattle loses to Green Bay. Seattle loses to Minnesota. Week 17, Seattle loses to Niners. We need Seattle to lose to the Cardinals. This is a must happen. The Niners must need Arizona to beat the Los Angeles Rams in week 17 for a possible 4-way tie if the Niners lose one game the rest of the way. And it could be to the Lions. It could be has to be to the Lions or Dolphins. It cannot be to a divisional opponent. And the reasons I'll show you right now. So let's say the Niners, it goes the way the Niners want. Week 15, Niners beat the Rams. Arizona beats New England. Seattle loses to Green Bay. And then week 16, Arizona could still win. Rams beat the Jets. Vikings beat Seattle. Niners beat the Dolphins, but they lose to the Niners lose to the Lions. And then we would need the Cardinals to beat the Rams. This is a must need to happen. Cardinals to beat the Rams. Seattle decides to win a game against a bad Bears team. And then the Niners would must win against Arizona in week 18. And then week 18, the Niners would must need the Rams, which at the time would need the Rams to win. And what it would do is if we go to the conference, actually, let's go to division. Sorry. If we were to go to division, it would come down to tiebreakers. It would come down to conference record. Since everyone in the division would be 3-3, it would come down to the conference record. Niners would be the only team 6-6, and they also have a stronger strength of schedule. So the Niners essentially could be a 4-way tie in their division and win the division. They just need help from other teams. They need help from essentially the Cardinals. They need help from the Vikings and why am I drawing a blank? Vikings and Packers. Interesting ways that things could happen. Now, let's go ahead and reset all of this. So as it sits right now, Niners are 6-7, fourth in the division, a couple of games behind the 7th seed. Let's see what happens. So all league remaining games. It's going to simulate from week 15, 16, 17, and 18. It's predicting the Niners don't make the playoffs. And it's predicting the Niners finish 8-9. So they lose 2 more games and only win 2 more. So let's say the predictor predicts the Rams to win. Week 18, let's see what happens at the Niners, right? Everything else happened, right? Week 15, Niners lose to the Rams. Washington loses to the Saints, which could possibly happen. You never know, right? Teams are trying to become spoilers at this point. What's up, Roger? How's it going, man? This Thursday night football game is going to be very interesting. Absolutely going to be very interesting, right? So hopefully all that happens and everything. Roger, shout out to you, my man. Definitely going to be talking about this game. I'll hit you up on hopefully, I think on Twitter. See if you want to come on the show and talk about this matchup. That'd be a fun one. So going back to what I was saying, so Washington loses. They're predicting to not win a game the rest of the year. That's crazy, in my opinion. Atlanta loses to the Raiders. Like I said, like what if they lose to the Raiders? They've been playing bad. So going over to week 16 means it has the Jets beating the Rams. I don't see that happening. I really don't. So I'm gonna change that one. Anything I don't think that's truly gonna happen, I'm gonna change. Just because we're trying to go off their predictor. So I think Seattle beats the Bears. I think Arizona could beat the Rams. Now I don't know the score. These are their scores that they're predicting. I'm guessing. I don't see it that way. I don't think it's gonna be the high scoring game. Atlanta may beat the Washington Commanders because they're in a must win game and they have a good defense coach and everything like that. Good run game. Tampa does beat Carolina. The Niners beat Detroit. That is interesting. I don't see the Niners beating Detroit. I'll be honest. I do not see it. But with the Rams, the Lions being so banged up, Niners may sneak one, and I like that. The Niners may sneak one. And then week 18, let's flip it. Niners beat the Cardinals. What would end up happening is the Rams would jump, and let's see why they would jump. Niners would be 2-4 in the division because they lost to the Rams. So the Rams would make the playoffs because of divisional record. Let's say the 49ers did lose to this game, but then won the Thursday night matchup. Doesn't matter because they have to control business week 18. If we go back to it, it's going to be a similar situation. That division record. So essentially, we need the entire NFC West to be 3-3 in the division. That's exactly what the Niners need. I don't think they predict that the Lions will be resting. I don't think you really predict a team to rest, especially because the Niners are going to be playing the Lions in week 17, not week 18. So you don't really rest your players for 2 weeks plus. The Lions are right now, if we go ahead and reset everything, Lions are the number 1 seed, so they have a bye week, so you're not going to rest your players for 3 weeks straight. Any questions in terms of how things could play out? Because I know, obviously, it's a must-win game. Week 15 is a must-win game on Thursday night. Now, if the Niners don't win this game and they win the rest of their games, we already saw how it plays out. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and week 15 Niners. Let's say Niners don't win. Say Washington wins. Arizona decides to win. Seattle loses. Tampa Bay loses. Let's say Arizona falls to Carolina. Carolina's been playing really well. They're at least competing. They're eventually going to win one. They're going to upset a team. Washington loses to Philly for a second time. The Rams win against the Jets. Niners beat Miami. Tampa beats Dallas. Damn it, clicked on the wrong button. So I said Niners lose. Washington wins. Arizona wins. We said Chargers lose. Sorry about that. Green Bay loses or wins. Sorry. Week 16 comes around. Atlanta wins. I need to do Atlanta on this one too. Atlanta beats the Raiders, so Atlanta's at 8-7 after week 16. Arizona, actually, we had Carolina winning, an upset. We have the Rams winning against the Jets. Philly beating Washington again. Niners beating the Dolphins. Minnesota beating Seattle. Tampa beating the Cowboys. Week 17 comes around. So we have the Niners losing in week 15. So right now they're 1-1 the rest of the way. The Niners beat Detroit. Tampa beats Carolina. We go up to Washington. This game matters. Let's say Washington loses. Arizona beats. This is a must win. We need Arizona to beat Rams no matter what. Seattle wins. So right now, we have the Niners or Tampa winning, possibly, but we need Tampa to lose. Put Tampa to lose. This one's going to be interesting. I think we need, what is that? Where does that put division? We need the Rams to win this one. So with the Rams go in the division, Washington loses to Dallas, a division rival. Division rival playing upset. They're playing spoiler to a young team. Atlanta loses to Carolina. SF beats Arizona. It wouldn't matter. And a lot of people keep saying, the Niners can make the playoffs as the wild card at 9-8. They cannot. These things matter. Conference record at 8-4. Niners would be 6-2. Losing week 15 automatically knocks the 49ers essentially out of the playoffs. Week 16 against the Rams is essentially for the playoffs. The 49ers lose to any other teams. They lose to Miami. They're 9-8. They're 9-8. They would still lose out to Tampa because of the conference record. But let's say Tampa does lose to Dallas in week 16. Dallas is competing. So they do lose to Dallas. Niners could get in. That game could flip things, right? So there's a lot of ways the Niners could get into the playoffs. Scenarios that could happen left and right. A bunch of scenarios that could happen. The thing is, though, is the 49ers must win Thursday night. If they lose Thursday night, what changes is division record. You are not getting in at 2-4. It's just not going to happen. The best thing for the 49ers to do is essentially try to control your own destiny. Win week 15, week 16, 17, and 18. Let's go ahead and reset all this. We're going to simulate it, all remaining games. We're going to go back through it, and we're going to make the 49ers 4-0 the rest of the way. Hasn't brought losing to the Lions. Oh, hasn't beaten the Lions. Hasn't losing to the Cardinals at 10 of the year. That would be devastating. Niners would be 10-7, and they would miss the playoffs because Washington and Green Bay have 11 wins. Niners can't get to 11 wins. They need help from teams. Washington, essentially. They need help from Washington, Tampa, Atlanta, and the division. 49ers would lose the division to Seattle. Let's see why they would lose the division to Seattle. Seattle would be 4-2. So who did Seattle play that they beat? The Rams. So if all that happens, Niners go 4-0, and the Rams win week 18, good chance, and Niners could pull something out. Now, I don't think. Let me go ahead and take that off real quick. I don't know the probability of all this happening. I know ESPN had the 49ers like at 6% of making the 6% chance of making the playoffs. Ridiculous. Because it's true. Needing a bunch of things to play out how you need it to play out, it's true. Again, shout out to Roger, my man, doing a super chat. Any questions, concerns about whether the 49ers make the playoffs? We're going to get into a little bit about what are some thoughts of the game. So if you have a super chat, make sure you guys drop a super chat. Would appreciate the super chat. Roger, it's on Thursday night. Us versus you guys. Essentially, this dictates the 49ers playoff hopes. I'll get into that matchup later in the week, but I wanted to go over scenarios and things that may have happened. I also want to get to a little bit of things that have happened throughout the week. 49ers receiver Deebo Samuel tweeted out earlier today that he's not struggling at all. He's just not getting the ball. And when I saw that, I'm like, I laughed because last night I tweeted that even if the Niners don't decide to move Deebo, he may request a trade. He may go on and be like, hey, you know what? I don't like how it's being used this year. I don't like that you're playing me outside on the line of scrimmage. I don't like being on the line where I'm not that great of a route runner, but you're still putting me in bad situations. I don't like being put in the backfield. You ran me so many times. I don't like that from Deebo. You're supposed to be a captain. Your team just won. Who cares what the fans and the media is saying about you? Your team just freaking won. Go to your head coach and say, hey, I need the ball in this way. He's your offensive coordinator. Go to Kyle Shanahan. Go to Kyle. Now, Deebo may be doing the Kittle approach where Kittle was asked, what were your thoughts on getting one target or only one reception last week? And that was the week before the Bears game. And he answered, well, I only ran like 6 routes, I believe. He was being honest. He was asked a question. He was answering the question honestly. But instead, right now, what Deebo's doing is when the media is talking to him and asking him questions, he's answering very one-worded, two-worded answers. The media is there. Talk to the media. Why go out and tweet it? They're asking you questions. You could literally be like, hey, I think if they ask you a question, what do you think about being your play or whatever? I think I need to get the ball this way. It's a way of answering it. You're answering a truthful question, but I didn't like that from Deebo. Lock in, man. Lock in. Just like you told Jake Moody. Lock in. You're a captain. There's a C on your chest. Captains don't act that way, man. And I know you went on your podcast recently because fans or someone said that they should take the C off your chest. And you're like, I wear it with pride. Well, then wear it with pride. Be a leader. Be a leader. Leaders don't act that way, Deebo. They don't. Truthfully, leaders do not go to social media and say, not my fault. I'm playing great. My play's not down. I'm just not getting the ball. It's not true. You're getting the ball. Fans are watching the game, man. It's all right. You're having a down year. You said not struggling at all, just not getting the ball with a lot of exclamation marks in the. Don't know what you want me to do about it. It's just bad. It's bad. Really bad leadership. Really bad leadership. Need to root for Green Bay and New England to win. Yeah, we need to root for teams to win. Niners need help. Shout out to Papa J. Marco, I like this question. And I know someone probably said they don't like this question. That's what Stevo said. He didn't like that. He said, don't do that, Papa. That's what they did with BA and Deebo creating tension. They will do that with the strong safety and running backs this year. No, I don't think so. You don't have to keep one. And I like this question for a couple of reasons, right? You don't have to keep one over the other because Jordan Mason, I believe, is a restricted free agent this year. So they could tender him, right? Let's go ahead and double. Yeah, he's a restricted free agent. So the Niners could put a tag on him. And they could keep him around if they feel like the price is right. Garendo's on a rookie contract. You have Christian McCaffrey coming off a PCL injury. He's out for 6 weeks, remainder of the year. You have Christian McCaffrey also coming off of that bilateral Achilles injury. Keep both. If you can, keep both. I think Mason's a really good player. I think Isaac's a really good player. I think you should have a 3-headed monster in the backfield. Christian McCaffrey can line up in the slot at times. Garendo can line up in the slot. Played receiver in high school and a little bit of that. So he has like the ability to do it, I guess. Christian has the ability to run some of the routes out of the slot, or at least be used as a decoy. So you could use them on the field. Shout out to Roger, man, with the super chat coming in with the super chat. Appreciate you so much, Roger. He says, I smell a sweep, Marco. Rams ending 5-1 in the NFC West. If the Rams end 5-1 in the NFC West, they win the division. I had said that I believe the 49ers' biggest competition was the Rams and Seattle. People laughed. People absolutely laughed when I said those two teams are going to be playoff contenders, or at least in the division, they're going to give us fits. Niners lost to the Rams already once, and they were banged up. They lost to Seattle. Wonder where those people are right now. It's like I wish they were in the chat. Say aye if it was you. If no one's gonna say it. Siva said, creating tension between players is a crap and can find out we can keep BA and Debo. No, and I had said in the offseason, you got a good point, Steve-O. I said in the offseason, that I had heard the 49ers, and I wasn't trying to like put BA versus Debo, but I had heard that was around NFL Combine time when they were shopping Debo, that the 49ers had no plans for Debo past 2024, past this season. They didn't have plans for Debo in 2025. So that was something that I had mentioned. The better receiver is Brandon Ayuk, if we're being honest. He's a better true receiver. The better weapon, I guess, at the time was Debo. If Debo stayed who he was, which he's not Debo who we know him as for anymore. He's washed up, or he's not getting the ball like he says. Maybe he's not getting the ball how he wants. I don't know. Maybe the C stands for complainer. That's crazy. Hey, Marco, Debo says he's not getting. I say, yeah, man, it's weird. Throwback. It's weird, man. I don't get how he's not getting the ball. He's just not averaging. He's not doing anything with the ball. His opportunities are there. He's not productive. That's the Debo fault, in my opinion. Everyone else is getting the ball. They're being productive. Shit, we put Isaac Guerrero back there running routes and stuff out of the backfield. We had Isaac Guerrero in the backfield, and he had a really good game. Shit, Patrick Taylor is doing well out of the backfield. I know Debo's on a running back. He called himself a wide back at one point after he had an all-pro year and said he's capable of being a running back and a receiver. You got paid for that, man. Jawan Jennings is lighting it up. Don't know what to say, man. Where does Genty fit in? I think Genty is going to be a Cowboy. That's my prediction. I think when I look at them when I look at the drafts and everything, like when I'm looking at mock draft simulators and stuff, or potential where the Cowboys could end up, I think he fits the Cowboys, and they need a running back. I think it makes sense for both parties. It's a really good player that they're drafting around that 10 to 15 range. Good chance that he's the pick. Now, I don't know how likely how deep of a running back class it is. I don't know how likely the Cowboys would be willing to go running back at that spot, or how likely any team in the first round would be willing to go running back in the first round, especially because it's a deep running back class. When I look at the running back class, I keep it on, to be honest with you, there's some dudes. Give you guys a couple of names. I don't like to usually give names this early. Amarion Hampton from North Carolina, Caleb Johnson from Iowa, Junkins from Ohio State, Henderson from Ohio State. A lot of people like Singleton from Penn State. I think Ollie Gordon entered the draft. So at this point, you don't really know who's entered the draft, who's not entered the draft. So it's kind of hard to get names, but I know those guys should be going. Cam Scatterbo, Jaden, I don't know if he's entering the draft, but a really good running back out of Cal. So it's a really, really deep running back class. So I don't know if someone decides to take Genty in that first round, or if the Cowboys were to go like receiver, where they also need a receiver opposite of CeeDee Lamb. But I think a running back's needed there in that range. So I think Genty would be a fit for the Niners, but I don't think the Niners need to go running back in the first round. They have a lot of other big issues than running back. Yeah, they should extend Kittle as soon as they can. Ooh, Rodgers calling for a big Debo game. I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to call for a big Debo game at this point when When we watch him play, he just doesn't look like himself, man. Um, doesn't look like himself at all. How do I feel about this draft class? I like this draft class for how the 49ers need defensive tackles. Safeties are really deep. They decide to go safety. Some solid corners. I think the offensive line, every year, I don't care what anyone says. Every year, the offensive line, you can find dudes. I don't care what anyone says. Like, I could find dudes. I think dudes are found every year on the offensive line in every draft. You just got to know how to scout them. Receivers, probably more of the weaker end from what I've seen. Man, that Seahawks loss hurts. Yeah, it hurts. It hurts losing. Not even that Seahawks loss, man. We could go back to the 49ers schedule, man, and look at games that they've lost. And we could be like, damn, had they just won this game, at the end of the year, if they don't make the playoffs and it's by one game, we could go back and be like, damn, the Arizona Cardinals loss. Damn, losing to the Rams at the end of the game. Damn, losing to the Minnesota Vikings, 17-23. We could say, damn, losing to Seattle late in the game. Twice, or late, not twice, late in the game, the back-to-back Rams and then Seattle late in the game. Right? Like there's multiple games that we could say this about where the Niners just didn't show up. Debo always kills the Rams. You're not wrong. He always shows up for the Rams games. Marco, look at this. Just because I voice my opinion doesn't mean I'm hating on my teammates. Be for real, per Debo. Yeah, and I thought this was interesting, right? And I get what Debo's saying because the 49er fans right away were like, oh, he's blaming the fan base. And I'm known for being critical of Brock Purdy, but there was a lot of people right away like, oh, he's blaming Brock. It's not what he's doing. It's not, and I got what Debo was saying because I already had known he was frustrated, and that's why I had tweeted out last night that I know he's frustrated with his usage. And people right away were like, oh, Purdy, you got owned, right? It's like, bro, chill. This is him saying he doesn't like how he's getting the ball. He doesn't like getting the ball out of the backfield for Debo isn't working because everyone knows it's happening. We can't blame Debo. Essentially, I'm being honest. I'm not going to blame Debo for not running the ball out of the backfield well. I'm going to blame Kyle for that because everybody and their mom knows that that's happening. Last against the Bears yesterday, line up in the backfield. I said run to Debo. First play, boom, run to Debo. Like everyone knows it's happening. It's not. Niners need a retool. They do. Rams did it, and that's why they're a good team now. You've got some awesome peeps in here. Debo going to Twitter as if he wants the fans to save him. Like, what does that accomplish? Yeah, I don't know what it accomplishes. And shout out to Wolfie saying all the people in the chat are amazing. I agree. I would 100% agree with you, Wolfie. See, look, they all think you're the boy. Now let's get into some exciting news, right? For 49er fans. Dre Greenlaw's back, baby. If he comes back Thursday, energy, right? Even if it's only for a few snaps, man, it's energy. Having your dude there, that's energy. Look what Hufanga brought to the defense, right? Energy. But I'm going to go a little bit further. I thought Hufanga brought some communication. I thought Hufanga brought a sense of calmness, right? When you have two young players back there who in the secondary who aren't necessarily vocal or leaders or understand what the defense is trying to do or offenses are trying to do to the defense, you could get lack of communication, right? Miscommunication more than anything. And we've seen that with bad English from Brown or the secondary not filling gaps the right way from the corners to the safeties, linebacking play, defensive tackle play, right? Communication at the end of the day is huge for defense. And I think Hufanga brings that communication. He's always, when he was with Gibson and Gibson was mentoring him, Gibson, he made sure he told, dude, you gotta extremely communicate. You gotta be a communicator. And that's stuff that they have helped, the veterans have helped Hufanga with. Hopefully Hufanga helps Malik Mustafa with that, or Jair Brown with that, right? So like Hufanga brings a calmness to the secondary. He's a player who's an all-pro. He's confident. I'm excited about Hufanga returning. I think Spencer Burford played really well. Isaac Arendo's injury. Now, I'm excited to see Izzy, who the Niners claimed from the Jets. Excited to see Izzy there. If you guys have any like main questions or main comments, please drop a super chat and I'll get to those. If you have like a main question or anything like that. For what I saw from the defense and what I really liked from the defense, and I know not to like bash David Lombardi or anything like that, but he keeps like he mentioned, oh, the Niners got 6 or 7 sacks. That's a Caleb we call that the Caleb Williams special. I disagree with that. And the reason why I'm gonna disagree with you, David, and hopefully he sees this. And I was gonna comment on his tweet about it too. So I'm not like something I wouldn't say to him personally, right? It's very discrediting to the 49ers defense when you say the Caleb Williams special. Because watching the defense, I saw multiple things that I saw. The defense passing things off to each other, communicating well, defensive line running stunts the right way, finally, disguising blitzes. It was a well coached game. So giving all the credit to Caleb Williams for those sacks is crazy. It's absolutely crazy in my opinion. I think it's discrediting to the 49ers defense, discrediting to Sorensen and Staley, because the defense did their job. They were taking things away in the back end. They were stopping the run. When you go back and you watch that game, they stopped the run, which allows you to get after the quarterback. There was a lot of times it was 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. DeAndre Swift ran the ball 14 times for 38 yards. That's 2.7 yards per carry. The defensive line finally stopped the run with the linebackers and everything like that, which allowed the 49ers to be more aggressive in their play calling defensively, running some stunts, disguising blitzes, passing things off and going in zone. That's a credit to the 49ers, not to Caleb Williams. Glad to see the 49ers playing well. It looked like Fred Warner's foot may finally be healing, that fracture that he has in that ankle or foot. Looks like he finally may be healing at a much better game. He did miss 2 tackles. The Niners missed 4 total as a team. They played really well. I thought the 49ers had a really good game. Looking at other players, it was nice to see Ricky Pearsall get by the secondary and deep into the secondary. That big play is coming with him and Purdy. It's going to happen. It's coming. It's very close to happening. You can see I like how Ricky read that. He saw the single safety. He saw it was he was the alert. He has to run a post on that. Brock thought it was covered. It was essentially cover 2, and the way it was a high-low on the one side, got the safety to come down. So now you don't have that second safety over the top, which Ricky Pearsall read right. Throw it to the farther number, like our numbers to hash. He hits on that. That's a huge play for Ricky. That's a very confident booster. Brock saw it more as the cover 2. Okay, he has to run the skinny post. So he threw it where he should have been if that safety didn't react. What other players did I really like who played? D Winters, man, he's coming along. I'm excited to see him along Fred and Greenlaw. I think he better stay in the lineup because he's energy. Kyle Shanahan. Can we talk about Kyle Shanahan real quick? Man, I thought Kyle Shanahan was absolutely phenomenal. I thought Kyle Shanahan called a perfect game plan. Screenplays to Kittle, wide ass open passing routes. I was really impressed with the game plan. And I kind of want to go over see if I can pull some up. Um, let's go ahead and pull a few plays up just to we'll just skip around on the film. See if I can pull it up. Get my second monitor up so I could have it on that monitor. I could, but I really liked what Kyle Shanahan did because when you look at what Kyle Shanahan did, it was right away make things easy, window dress things, make defense have to think about where the ball's going. All right, let's take a look at this. And this is playoff offense. This is a playoff style of offense from Kyle. Make it straight easy, right? Right away when you take a look at things, the 49ers ran first play out the gate. First play out the gate, the Niners run. Jennings, get him open, boom. In the slot versus or with the nickel corner on him, who's not that good. Byron, safety actually. Byron, you're not going to cover Jennings. Boom, I like it. And then a few plays later, on 2nd and 3, I like it. Try to go to the run. Don't get much. 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1. I like it. You know, and the reason why I like this is I think Kyle was really going to come out. And if they do not get this first down, you know what Kyle's doing? He's going for it. Absolutely going for it. There's no way in my mind where Kyle was running this and saying this pass pattern and saying, you know what? Or throwing the ball and saying, you know what? We don't get it. We're going for it. I like this a lot by Brock. And I complained about Brock earlier in the year for this, for not doing this more often. So when we take a look at this, a couple of things I like. Nothing's really open. I mean, you could find Kittle in the second window, but he's already come through releasing. You could find Kittle in the second window here. But then there's a lot of congestion here. You also got this guy. He might go. You got the safety starting to come down. Really like Brock checking it down. I also wouldn't mind if we know we're going for it. If Kyle tells you, hey, we're going for it on 4th down, you have 2 plays. See if I can show you guys what. There's man-to-man here. Safety's over the top, cheating over to the 3x1 side, 3x2 side, or 3x2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you got 3x2 side up top. Let's see if I could. Let's see if I can pull it up. Okay, boom. Okay, makes it. Are you able to see my cursor being colored? Can anyone in the chat tell me if my cursor is colored for you guys? Is it red? If not, I'm about to do something. I'll change it real quick for you guys. I know how to do it real quick, just so it's easier for you guys to know what I'm looking at, pointing at. Cursor. No, I can't see. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and change that real quick then. Sorry about that. So something I see. So we're gonna looking at this route right here, right? We got the 3x2. We have Ricky Pearsall at the bottom of the screen. And when you take a look at it, Ricky's on the bottom of the screen, and he's matched up one on one. Take the shot. I don't mind. It's 3rd and 1. If Kyle has told you, hey, we're gonna go ahead and go forward on 4th down, take the shot. You have it. Now, I don't know what Kyle told him. I really don't. So I'm not gonna be like, hey, Kyle, I know Kyle told you to throw the ball deep or whatever or anything like that. But if Kyle's allowing you to do it, take it. Take the opportunity to throw a deep shot, especially when you're trying to gain the ability to go after and get Ricky Pearsall into the flow of game. You have the opportunity to do this. Accessibility. Sorry about that. Boom. Can you guys see how bigger the pointer is now? Does the pointer look bigger now? It's huge on my screen, so I hope it's big on your guys' screen. But you have that one-on-one matchup, like I said, right? The one-on matchup on the bottom of the screen. Don't mind if Brock takes his shot. He wins out the gate. He has a step on his. That's open. I don't mind you taking that shot, but also take the big game. Now let's jump later into the game. And this is just high level football play. High level football right here. Brock taking a hit while he's delivering to Jennings. I wonder if Tebow's complaining that he's not getting the ball like here. He's open. He's open. Up top. Kittle's definitely not open. You got a bracket right here. So he's not gonna safety's already coming down. Pearsall's safety's over here, or corner actually, Jalen Johnson. Whips around. Beautiful route. Wins. Pearsall or Purdy gets rocked. I wonder if that's what Debo's upset about. Like these kind of plays where he's not getting the football. Look at his body language. Just see if his body language says anything. Nah, not really. Purdy's great at QB sneaks, by the way. Underrated part of his game. Kill. They go to next play. Motion Debo out wide. Run inside. I want to go to the. See if I can find the touchdown to Jenny. I think it's coming up. Oh, Debo got the ball. Let's watch Debo get the ball. Screen. Ooh, Jalen Moore and Burford whiff on this one. Oh no, Jalen Moore, he had him. He just good play by the corner. See it from the other angle. Yeah, it's you got to get that one more. Let's see from this angle, from the end zone angle. And it is, you're true. Papa J used to break these kind of tackles like it was nothing, but he's not doing that. That's what's interesting. 3rd and 4. Yeah, this is a beautiful route by Jennings. And this is a constant theme. Like a lot of the throws for Brock this game were this open. And this is something that we gotta credit Kyle for. It's like we want the offense to be more efficient, want the offense to in the red zone. Look how open he is. Like this is an easy pitch and catch. Wide ass open. And we can you have Kittle right here too. So if he doesn't like that, he's probably going 1 to 2. Just wide ass open, touchdown. And that's just credit to Kyle, like, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, Kyle's offense isn't good anymore. But man, it's just high level offense. Like you could now my internet's starting to slow down. No. All right, I guess that's the film god saying stop watching film. Where do I get these videos from? Um, to be honest, I don't even know how I get them. Like, I'm not even like trying to be a weird or anything about it. I don't know who's sharing what. I just know I get them shared by someone, but they're shared by certain. Like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, they're shared to someone, and that person shares them to like to me. That makes sense. I don't know who he gets them from, and I don't want to use his name. I don't want to get him in trouble or anything. But 49ers playoff host we talked about. There's not much for them to. There's not much playoff hope, right? They need a lot to happen in order for them to make the playoffs. They need essentially must win Thursday. If they do not win Thursday, they're out. It's pretty much that's the most common theme when I look at the predictor. You guys could use the predictor and you guys want to mess around with it. It's PFN playoff predictor. And when you look at the playoff predictor, essentially any of them. But Papa J, if you message me on Twitter and you want film, like message me. I could see what I can do for you. I don't mind like trying to help you out and get film. So message me on Twitter. Appreciate you for tuning in. So definitely will try to help you out with that. But we look at the Niners. If they lose on Thursday, any other scenario, if they lose Thursday and they win the rest three in a row, they're like 2-4 or 2-4, I believe, in the division. Or no, 3-3. And no, it's a must-win game. I forgot what it is. So you have to look at it. But Thursday night is pretty much a must-win game. Or Thursday night must-win game. From there, they have to beat the Cardinals. But man, you cannot fall to. You need help from a lot of other people. The chances to make the playoffs, I'll be honest, if I had to put a chance on it, 15%. 15, that's my prediction. 15 to 20%. You're not making the playoffs, unfortunately. Should have handled business early in the year. They didn't. They decided to let games fall late in the game or not play up to their standards. That's what happens when you don't play up to your standards. The 49ers playoffs odds, in my opinion, are 15 to 15%. We went over the playoff predictor. And let's go ahead and do one more time the playoff predictor. And we'll take a look at just to see if we simulate it one time just to see if it helps out with anything. Do the 49ers have the opportunity to make the playoffs or just present my screen? We are going to simulate every game the remainder of the year. See where the Niners end up. As the Niners being 7-10, damn. So winning one more game. Yeah, this simulator sucks. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of the simulator? You guys think the simulator sucks? I think it sucks. Okay, 15. They have Rams beating the Niners. Let's change that. They win. They're 8-9. Okay, beating the Dolphins. Niners beat the Cardinals. I don't think the Niners lose to the Cardinals second time around. They still don't make the playoffs. They would have to be. So the way it goes, if Niners win out, the predictor has them. I simulate it where they simulate all the other games, but I have the Niners winning out. The Niners would make the playoffs at 10-7. And they would make the playoffs over. They would actually make it pretty easy because they have Atlanta not winning many games. It would end up being the win over the Rams on why they won, make the playoffs. Because if they lose the Thursday night game, the Rams win the division, and Washington makes it over. Damn, a lot of things could happen, man. But if you guys want to play around, Pro Football Network, great playoff simulator. Just type in Pro Football Network playoff predictor, and you guys can check it out. Thank you all for tuning in. That's it for today's episode. I'll be going in to go over some 49ers prediction and stuff like that on what is possible for Thursday night. So I'll see you guys tomorrow and Wednesday, the rest of the week. Hope you guys all have a good rest of your guys' day. Peace out. Oh, Papa J at the end saying the simulator doesn't account for the player's emotions. Oh shit. Oh my God. That was a good laugh. Thank you. Y'all have a good rest of your night. Peace out.